You know, as I said many times, one of the best parts of my job is the time that I get to spend with our sellers. Because that's really what eBay is all about. It's about the work our entire team does, focused on how we can make the platform and the marketplace better for you so that you can succeed. I've been traveling a lot recently across the country and getting to talk with so many of you, and I'm really inspired by your stories. You know, I really enjoy meeting sellers who are what I call accidental entrepreneurs. These are sellers I've met who've started out selling maybe 1 or 2 items on eBay on the side, and then they sell a little bit more, and all of a sudden it becomes a full-time job. You know, earlier this week, we launched our annual small business report, and we found that 61% of you identified as what we call accidental entrepreneurs. And a majority of respondents believe eBay is the home for accidental entrepreneurs and a place where it's easy to turn a passion into a business. That's just incredible, and I love hearing that. Now, we've told you a lot about what we're doing on your behalf over the past couple of days. But eBay is really about building connections and community. And I'm excited for you to hear directly about the marketplace from some great longtime sellers. So I want to introduce you to 3 sellers who are going to take the stage now for the next half hour to talk to you about how they've grown their businesses on eBay. They'll share their individual stories and some of what they've learned along the way. So first, let me introduce them. So let me start with Ken, who's to my left. Ken Gaitano is from Cincinnati, Ohio. He's been on the platform since 2016 as a sneaker and streetwear seller and has 24,000 followers on Instagram. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Who are following his journey. I also understand that Ken was the one that got to pick the outfits out for today's panel.
Yes.
So with these awesome shoes and these great eBay sweatshirts. So welcome, Ken. Next, we have Laurie Wong. Laurie is from Atlanta. She sells clothing and raises money for eBay for Charity, one of my special favorite things about the platform, eBay for Charity. And she helps feed people in the local community through her nonprofit, which is called Reflections of Trinity. And she's been on the platform for 2005. So welcome, Laurie.
Yes.
Great to have you here. And finally, Anna Packer. Anna joins us from Highland, Illinois, and she sells everything from collectibles and clothing to antiques. And she's been on eBay for 15 years. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
You guys look great in your eBay outfits. And so we can't wait to hear what they are going to talk about and what they have in store for us. So before I hand it over to you guys to tell your stories and talk more, everybody knows that I always love to ask, this is usually my last question, but we're going to make it the first question because you guys are going to do most of the talking. But I always like to hear what's one piece of feedback that you have for us. Specifically, what would you like to see from eBay in the coming years? So who wants to go first?
I'll go
Laurie,
first.
you get to start.
So for me, increase the visibility of eBay for Charity on the platform.
Now I'll go second. And I think let's eBay continue to support and foster the eBay community so we can bring the next generation of eBay sellers and buyers.
Awesome. Great suggestion. Anna?
I'd say elevating seller stories is really important because that really helps us to connect and succeed together.
Awesome. Well, while a number of you have been here, I've been doing some seller stories one-on-one, telling those stories. We'll put them on the site, on LinkedIn, because it is really what eBay is all about.
Yeah.
Laurie, I'm proud to say, and we need to push eBay for Charity more, but I was really happy that when I came back as CEO, we've now done $1.25 billion in eBay for Charity.
Wow, that's
awesome.
amazing.
And, you know, there's amazing sellers. I was interviewing some yesterday that host these great community meetups. Yes. And one of the fun things you like to always talk about is sellers helping other sellers. And I think those community elements are huge. So definitely things that we're going to work on. Thank you for the time. Okay, so I'm excited that over the next 30 minutes, we're going to hear much more from 3 of our great sellers. And I don't want to steal their thunder, so I'm going to give the stage to them. Thank you for spending your time here, and I'll see all of you again soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Jamie. It's an honor to take over today. But here's the real deal. We want to tell you like it is. But first, you need to know a little bit more about us. We want you to know who we are, where we're coming from, and what we're all about.
Yeah, we're all eBay sellers, and being part of this amazing seller community is what brought us together in the first place. We have a lot in common with each other and with you too, but our breadth of experience is also marked by our differences.
Yes, as sellers, we have already learned so much from each other, and it's very energizing. We've all had some big wins, and we all have room to grow. So much is possible for eBay sellers, especially when we do what we do in the community with each other. We want to share with all of you, so let's get down to business.
Laurie, why don't you lead us in?
All right.
What do you want all these other sellers to know about you and your eBay store?
So my name is Laurie Wong, and my store is Reflections of Trinity. And we've been a vetted charity seller on eBay, on the eBay Charity Network, actually, for the past 18 years.
So can you tell me about what that can represents?
So this can represents the fact that eBay sales helps us to purchase food to feed over 7,500 people each month from our
Wow.
food pantry.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's allowed us to grow and be a sustainable nonprofit organization.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, for the past 10 years, now cumulatively speaking, eBay has helped us to distribute over 13 million pounds of food
Wow, that's amazing.
to
That is
half a
amazing.
million people. That is incredible.
It is.
So my biggest win and the reason why I opened an eBay store was to provide revenue for my nonprofit so that we could serve those in crisis in our community. And here's the thing. When I started 18 years ago, I was not computer savvy. There was no YouTube.
What?
And I had
No
to teach
YouTube?
and I had to teach myself. So what started in my basement with one listing is now 20,000 items in 2 eBay stores. And I have a staff of 10 in our e-commerce department.
Wow.
Another huge win was to be the grand prize winner at the inaugural eBay Shine Awards in 2016. Winning that award significantly allowed us to expand our food pantry with much needed refrigeration equipment. So this has been a really exciting and rewarding journey. So Ken, how about you? Tell people what you want to know about your store and about you.
Well, I sell sneakers.
You don't say.
I mean, here's the fit. So, I sell sneakers, and I brought this item because this is my favorite shoe. The Jordan 12 flu games. Michael Jordan wore this in the 1997 finals. They won championship that year, and it reminds me as eBay sellers. It's called the flu game shoe. So Michael Jordan had to go through obstacles to win that finals. As a matter of fact, he had to get helped out of the court by his teammate Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
So that picture was very important to me because as eBay sellers, we have each other in this community to support each other. Yeah. So that's why this is my favorite shoe. So my eBay journey started 10 years ago when me and my wife decided to get married, and we moved here in the States to, conquer a dream or start a journey. And that's how we started. Back in 2017, started with $500 in our 2-bedroom apartment, got to 2,000 pairs of sneakers in there. So I was really trying to make it happen. And with the help of the community, I've learned a lot. And, my huge win was last year, being, an immigrant here, moving here 10 years ago. We purchased our first house. Ooh. Thanks to the help of eBay and the community that's surrounding it.
Congrats.
Yep. Okay, Anna, you're up. What does everyone want to know about you and your store?
All right. Well, I'm Anna Packer, and my story with eBay really also mostly starts in 2017. I've sold here and there on the platform since college, but I really made a go of it in 2017. I actually already had a busy career in psychology. I was teaching undergrad psych classes and running a private practice where I saw psychotherapy clients full-time. And I love that work and I love helping people, but I was getting pretty burned out after 7 years or so. And it's really heavy work sitting with people and their struggles as a living. So I started selling on eBay as a side hustle so I could reduce my workload at my practice and help curb some of my burnout. And after a couple of years of doing both, I had a family emergency that actually took me out of my office for weeks at a time, all of a sudden. And so when the dust settled from that crisis, I realized that my eBay store had really come through for me and paid my bills that month. Yep. And I had seen no clients that month dealing with an emergency. I made no money at my practice, but while I was away, eBay was still chugging along in the background, and that was really eye-opening for me. So after some major considerations, I decided to go full-time on eBay, and I actually closed my practice in 2019. On eBay, what I love about it, I could have more flexibility in my schedule, and I just had more mental and emotional bandwidth for creative projects and important relationships to me and life in general. So also in 2021, I was fortunate enough to win one of eBay's Up and Running grants, which was truly life-changing. What a fantastic program.
Yep, for sure.
I've also, at this point, got about 10,000 listings in my store these days. So my inventory is pretty large. It's very miscellaneous, which is represented by this lovely chicken you see. It's a hen on nest, or known as a han if you're a collector. But all of my items now, all 10,000 plus, are nestled in their little bins in my e-basement. So that's really nice too. Working from home is the best. So thanks to all the flexibility I have now, I run my store somewhere between part-time and full-time hours. And honestly, the biggest win for me in all of this has been living a more flexible, creative lifestyle. And I can tell you, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, for sure. We've all had some big wins in our eBay journey, and those are all the things that we're very proud of. Being able to buy a house, Anna's ability to work flexibility with a bunch of creative stuff, and Laurie's giant community of families being fed.
Yeah,
absolutely. We have all enjoyed some really meaningful success on eBay. And the reason why we're here to tell you all about it is because success leaves clues.
That's
yes.
right.
Fortunately,
Bottom line, we're here on eBay to make money, right?
Correct.
Right. And we know all of you are too. Every single one of us has room to grow and improve and succeed. So let's get down to the brass tacks.
For sure. Laurie, I've heard you talk about keeping the main things the main things. What does that mean? In your experience, what are the main things that we should be focusing on?
So we absolutely do need to keep the main things the main things. And in fact, at Reflections of Trinity, I teach the staff and the volunteers the 5 basics. We call them the tenets, and there are 5 tenets, and here they are. Number 1, great sourcing.
Yeah.
And in my case, as a nonprofit that receives donations, effective sorting and choosing quality items to list. Number 2, taking quality photos. Number 3, submitting accurate and complete listings consistently. Number 4, providing good customer service. And number 5, shipping promptly.
Yep.
Love it. Those really are the foundational tasks, right, for all of us for running a successful store. And it's really cool to think we can use these basics as a lens to look at any problem. So before we scramble around for complicated solutions, first we can check up with how we're doing on the basics. And I know I've definitely done that before, checked up on my basics. What about you guys? Do you ever do that still?
For sure. I'm all about extreme ownership. I always blame myself before pointing fingers at anywhere else. All of these fundamental things are in my control. And so if something is off, I check those controllable things first. Because guess what? Guys, I've looked all over eBay campus. We've been here for a week. I know where the best espresso machines are. I know where the snacks are. I know where the cookies are hidden and the donuts, but I haven't found the switch. Yes, there is no switch. Nobody is flipping that switch to turn off and on your sword. It's a myth. It's not a thing. Myth busted. Is not real.
Can confirm.
Absolutely. Actually, I think one of our biggest challenges as eBay sellers is to make sure that our pricing is correct. And at Reflections, we use Terapeak in the Seller Hub section under Research to check and just make sure that our prices are in line with what other sellers are listing those items for.
Yeah.
And this is particularly important when it comes to stale inventory, because prices change over time. And what you could have gotten for an item 6 months ago is not necessarily what you're going to get today.
Yeah. That's true. So let's dig into each of these tenets a little bit more, because I'm sure, just like this example, they apply to each of our businesses a little bit differently. So we're all trying to keep these main things top of mind in our businesses. Ken, do you want to start?
Yeah, let's talk about sourcing quality items. In our business in sneakers and streetwear, inventory is very important.
Yeah.
So we have to find the best products at the best price. I mean, I've always said it, and I've heard it from a lot of people, that you make money when you buy, not when you sell.
Yeah.
So if you are a smart buyer, buying inventory, great quality inventory, it's gonna help you become a better seller. So for us, research is key. We say it, do the hard part up front. Do the hard work first. So yes, I understand it could be very tedious researching a product, but in the beginning it might be hard, but over time you're just gonna collect the knowledge of certain items that when you see it, it's gonna be worth it. And we always say it, do not force the issue. Have an abundant mindset because the opportunities are endless.
Absolutely. That's so important to keep in focus. You make money not when you sell, but when you buy.
Yep, for sure.
Do not make an emotional decision when sourcing for your business.
Yeah, I had so much fun talking about this topic in my seller-led session this year at eBay Open. And I think the biggest takeaway for me when I was preparing the material for that was right along those lines. And we've all heard the phrase, you'll just know it when you see it. But I would argue that actually we'll see it when we know it. And research is so important for that. Experience, your own experience and community with other sellers who can benefit from their experience. Those all teach me things all the time. And so then once I know about them, I start seeing them when I'm sourcing.
Absolutely. So the next thing is quality photos. Now there was a time when using a good camera was necessary for quality photos.
Yeah.
But both cell phones today have superior cameras, so purchasing an expensive camera is just not necessary.
Yeah.
When taking photos of items, make sure that you give the customer a 360-degree experience. Be sure to show any flaws, if any. Show price tags and security tags, as well as labels with sizing and material content. The more photos with details, the better, especially for pre-owned items. Now we have up to 24 photos in some categories, and we can even add videos and get assistance from artificial intelligence.
That's right.
Ooh.
Which is wild. Yeah.
Good pictures will save you time because you have fewer questions from buyers and you'll be better protected in buyer disputes.
Yep.
Yeah, I know when I look at my listings, I'll sometimes find older photos that aren't the greatest, but it's also really cool to see the progress.
Yeah, me
I mean,
too.
I use my phone. I still don't do anything super fancy, but over time I can see that my photos have gotten cleaner and more thorough.
Right.
For sure. I mean, especially when you're trying to sell sneakers, it's very important to take photos of all the details because, a sneaker tells a story. It's not just a pair of shoes. You have different materials. You have different, insole and outsole as well. I mean, even the box has a story. So for us, it's very important because it communicates to the buyer that all these things are present when we're trying to sell it. So the more photos, the better. And, there's just an eye candy dangling for another sneakerhead to click that buy it now button.
Right. Well, closely related to photos and really related to photos, another tenet is high quality listings.
Yep.
So let's talk about that one. So obviously we want our listings to be accurate and complete and as consistent as possible, and also to be listing consistently as possible. High quality content in the listing, like a great title and the good photos we were just talking about, are super important. That also includes like filling out required item specifics and any relevant recommended ones, and all of those things are part of having a high quality listing. And if you can really list good quality items with a good quality listing that lets it shine, and you can rinse and repeat that on a regular basis, you're in business.
Yep.
And now, like you're saying, it's easier than ever to put a good listing together with good photos and all those other things in record time, thanks to the new features and capabilities in the listing flow. And personally, I'm actually really excited about the generative AI that's taking so much of the brain racking out of descriptions. Anything we can do to help our buyers understand our items better is a huge win. What do you guys think about that?
Now, for us, we stick to our listing rule, which is everything needs to be listed 24 hours. We already put in the work at sourcing this item, taking good photos, listing it. We want to upload all this listing as fast as possible because the faster it is uploaded, the faster it's gonna sell.
Yeah.
And that way, our process is always going to be consistent. List it 24 hours. Don't have a death pile.
Wow, that's a hot take.
And I want to remind everyone that even though item specifics are tedious, they're very important to enhancing the search results. So don't overlook the importance of completing item specifics.
Totally agree. They are tedious, but they're so important.
Yeah.
Okay, Ken, do you want to tackle customers?
Where?
I mean, customer service.
I know. Good customer service. Come
don't
on
wanna
now. We
tackle
can't be
customers. We're
tackling
not-
customers, and we're all
not.
eBay sellers
Here
here.
for the customers.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good customer service. When I think about that, that line is, I always think about service. I talk about the word serve, right? When you serve, it's not about you. It's about the person on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And AKA our customers. So, providing immediate support is very important for us. And when you're serving, I actually want to earn their business, right? Because they could actually buy from other people. I want them to spend their hard-earned money with me because we provide top-notch customer service. We respond fast and we accommodate special requests. We do gift wrapping, we'll do notes. I actually had to print a photo of somebody and said, "I love you." And I was like, wow, that's a great sneaker gift, right? So, I feel like it's very important. And when you get your head out of, it's about me, customer service is not about you, it's about the buyer.
Yeah.
So when you provide that, that becomes your competitive advantage.
That does sound like top-notch customer service.
Yes,
Ken.
absolutely.
And you have a great attitude about it. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. My attitude about it is not as good every day of the week, but it's my growing edge. I'm working on it.
Better.
And I totally agree. It's so important. And all of us really do need to keep that in mind. And I just want to promise you that I'm working on it.
Good.
We do our best to accommodate special requests as well. And in most cases, if there's a dispute, we'll refund the customer. We eat the cost just to keep the customer happy. It may hurt in the short run, but it scores big wins for us in the long run.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
agree.
Well, you guys are inspiring me. Let's go ahead and talk about this last tenant. With a name like Anna Packer, I am contractually obligated to talk about shipping. So I actually love shipping. It's one of my favorite parts of running my business. So in my experience, I really make a point to set a good expectation of my shipping times and be able to deliver on that no matter what. So shipping as soon as reasonably possible within the time frame you offer is so important to me. My hot take is that it's maybe even more important than stating a really short handling time at all times, no matter what. You guys know I like my flexibility,
Yeah.
but shipping on time, of course, keeps my store in good standing. And like I said, it sets a reasonable expectation for the buyer. So we live in this very instant world today, and shipping fast and, delivering on those expectations is part of what keeps us competitive. For me, there's only so much flexibility in my daily life that I'm willing to give up for the sake of staying competitive. So I usually have 2 or 3 day handling time in my store. But in reality, I usually ship within 1 or 2 business days on a regular basis. So in general, I try to underpromise and overdeliver. And I'm also generous with my time away settings when I need to take it, just to make sure that, again, those expectations are really being met. So what about you guys? How do you handle shipping fast?
I mean, we like to keep things simple. It's the same as our listing rule. We ship everything 24 hours. At this day and age, everybody wants to get their package fast.
Yeah.
In the fashion world, in the sneakers category, things are dropping every weekend. So you gotta look fly, you gotta stay in fashion. So yes, it is very important as a customer of eBay and as a seller that I wanna get their sneakers to them as fast as we could so they can look fly and they look cool.
Yeah, fast shipping is it's imperative for us as well. We have a 24-hour or less turnaround in an effort to get the package to the customer quickly. Not shipping in a timely manner, it really hurts your potential for repeat business and for
True.
overall
Yep.
customer satisfaction. Well, guys, those are the 5 tenets.
We did it.
The main things to keep the main thing. And at the end of the day, we may all have fancy tools that eBay creates to enhance our seller experience. But if you have not mastered the basics, you'll not realize success. We need to focus.
That's true.
And we need to focus on the right things. The tools may have changed, but the main things have not.
No, they have not. And doing these main 5 things well has put each of us in a position to succeed. And we've all had success also because of our mindsets and our ideas and our attitudes. We've all learned we have to cut the excuses and be relentless, right? We've all had to formulate a plan and work it.
Yeah.
And we all went full time. And not everybody wants to be full time, but everybody has a goal.
That is true. The bottom line is you have to go and spend time, set some goals and persevere. And I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard in the beginning, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be worth it. Think about it as building a solid foundation. Those 5 basics are very fundamental things that as businesses, as eBay sellers, we gotta have. As you build a bigger and better building, a taller building, foundation is very important. So in our business, as we scale, as we grow, foundation is still the main thing.
Yeah.
Okay, kids. Wherever focus goes,
Energy flows.
there you go.
You taught us something, Laurie.
When you focus on something continuously, magic happens. And keep in mind that success requires sacrifice, at least for a time. There is no such thing as a get rich quick or sliding into success with no effort. I remember when I first started, I had to give some things up to get going. I had to give up social events. I had to give up lots of sleep.
Yeah.
And I had to be consistent with it. In the early days, my eBay business started at 11 o'clock at night after I put my kids to bed.
Wow.
And I have 6 kids.
Wow.
So I would list until 2 in the morning. And mastering your craft requires full immersion. So it's got to be a priority in your life, and you have to exercise discipline.
Yeah. And the sacrifice can be ongoing too.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard to commit to a whole season of sacrifice, but that's really what it takes. And I know because I know all of us, that when, each of us was willing to make those significant sacrifices, we each had really good reasons for doing it. And we all had specific goals to direct our steps along the way. When I decided to try to sell on eBay for real and kind of make it a consistent source of income, I had to give up time I felt like I was already short on. So that was really hard. But the biggest sacrifice ended up really being my previous career. And at some point, when it became clear that this was the path for me, I closed the chapter on that career. And even though I was gaining a lot by focusing on my eBay store and I was really excited about it, closing that chapter was still a huge sacrifice. And change usually is costly. Progress is costly. And I really had to shift how I thought about myself and my identity, my work, how I explain when someone asks, so what do you do?
Yeah.
That's a totally different answer now. So
Right.
it was a major challenge. And even though I knew it was the right thing for me, it was still hard.
Yep.
So Ken, what about you? What was it like for you when you started? What drove you and what were you aiming for in the beginning?
Yeah, when we moved here 10 years ago to fulfill my American dream, I got a job, and pretty soon I felt like it was time for me to go out on my own and pursue building a business. So I quit my job, typical wing it factor, jump out of a plane and built my parachute on the way down.
Of course you did.
So I told my site manager, I said, I'm out and sayonara. And so got home, I told my wife, I said, babe, I quit. And she said, why? I said, we're gonna go after our American dream and build something bigger and better. So I drove for Uber to pay the bills, and after that I would go out sourcing and buy sneakers to sell.
Yeah.
So personally, I have to sacrifice half of my sneaker collection. Half, guys. As a sneakerhead, that could have been very fatal. That could have put me down. But I know for a fact that, again, it requires a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And, one day I've been, doing some podcasts and stuff like that. Out of the blue, my mom called and was really worried. So I had to be worried myself too. I was like, Mom, what's the problem? And he said, son, why didn't you call me? I said, for what? I said, I heard on the eBay Business podcast that you had to eat ramen noodles for 2 weeks and ate frozen for 2 weeks, frozen pizza for 2 weeks. And I was like, yeah, Mom, but that was the sacrifice I had to make. And I'm a big boy now, Mom, come on. So, that was a, little sacrifice that we have to make. And at that time, I loved my sneaker collection. That had to go. So, we invested in this business. I believe in the American dream, and I was willing to do whatever it took.
Well, it sounds like you have a really great mom, but also a tremendous amount of dedication.
Love you, Mom.
So good job. But, that reminds me of, when I was first beginning, it was kind of lonely when you're really focused and you're doing whatever it takes. So
Yeah, me
what
too.
about you? Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all of us did kind of start alone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have the best support system in the world. As all of you guys know, I have a JC.
She is the best.
So
She's the best.
my
She
wife,
is.
also known as my chief of staff.
Yeah.
So, in the beginning, it was just the two of us, working on building this business together with her. I realized that with her, with the support, that it could be even better if we both had even more support. So you've heard the saying, to go faster, you go alone. But to go further, you go together. So now we have really found our tribe in our eBay seller community. Now look around this table, all of us have gone further than we could have gone alone.
That's exactly right, Ken. We aren't competing with each other.
Yep.
We're actually sharpening each other.
Very much.
And
I
it's a
agree.
beautiful thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think connection fuels my passion and my business itself just as much as the actual stuff in my store. And I know the same is true for you too. How has that worked in your experience?
It's really important to internalize that we are a part of the largest enthusiast community
Say that again.
in the world.
Say that again.
Yes, we are a part of the largest enthusiast community in the world.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, wow. There is nothing that quite compares to the eBay community. And you would be remiss if you did not take advantage of that.
I agree.
In addition to my phenomenal staff, there's so many sellers and eBay staff members, both past and present, that have come alongside me in the journey. And they've helped me to grow my business from nothing to something of significance. I want to do some shout outs to
Yeah.
folks
Yes.
like Kathy Terrell and Angie and Joe Cardona Nelson, Katie and Victoria Zilverberg, and eBay staff members like Brian Burke, legend, and Melissa Sanchez, legend, just to name a few. And I'm doing that for the sake of time. But these guys have really been the wind beneath my wings.
No, for sure. Without this community, my journey would have been impossible. And I've learned so much and I've gotten so much resources from this community. The Hustle Bee account on Instagram would have it started, we started it because we just want to document our own journey and to follow the progress of other sellers. But because of this eBay incredible community, it has become a brand that now gets to contribute and impact other people's lives. We say it all the time. Never settle. Those two words became our truth and our lifestyle. The community has showed me that it is okay to share and document your journey, not just our wins, but also our struggles.
Yeah.
And being part of this community has given me so much confidence that my American dream was possible. That if it was possible for them, it would be possible for me, and it could be possible for you.
Well said. I mean, I am so glad that I discovered the incredible eBay seller community. I really first started my store hearing the day-to-day experience of some other resellers, and that really convinced me that I could start selling on eBay in the first place. And that really was, and still is, super inspiring to me. But I was content to just continue on like that, taking some encouragement, hearing about others, and then quietly shipping from like underneath the rock, that I lived under. But for me, the power of community really went next level once I crawled out from under my rock and I discovered that there's so much more community out here. In fact, Ken and Laurie, you guys have become some of my
Absolutely.
best friends, and I still meet new friends in this community all the time.
Yep. So let's showcase a few more of our friends in the community, shall we?
Yes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I gotta shout out my homie, my brother from another mother, Glenn Zabia, also known as the Hustler Hacks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here without this guy. So for that, thank you, Glenn. Thank you. I appreciate you, and thank you for the work that you've done in sharing your eBay journey through YouTube. So, running a business in eBay is not for the faint of heart. And yes, it can be a lonely grind, but sometimes it doesn't have to be. I first found Glenn when I searched online on how to sell sneakers on eBay. I found an article about him about paying off his student loan by selling sneakers on eBay. And again, that's how I stumbled upon his YouTube channel. So Laurie, it was a lot easier this time because there was YouTube.
YouTube now exists.
Yeah, for sure.
it.
So, I watched his YouTube channel. I watched actually all of his videos. And I emailed him and said, hey, can I get a video call? And he agreed. I remember to this day, you guys know I'm not a morning person. He said, I'll take a call at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Ouch.
I was like, that was a sacrifice, but obviously I really needed advice.
Yeah.
So he agreed, gave me lots of tips and encouragement, and the rest was history. So now we help each other all the time, develop each other's business, and together we made it a goal to foster and help the community. We have hosted multiple workshops about seller development and best business practices, and hosted a YouTube live show every Wednesday for the last 7 years.
Wow. Wow. Well, Glenn is awesome. And your story is such a great example of the power of community. I know I can say for all of us that we really love these people we get to talk shop with.
For sure.
They're the people who get us and they relate to our quirky obsessions with shipping supplies or our thrill when we find a great deal. And one person I thought of right away about community is Alec Larson. He's up here too. And for those of you who don't recognize this dude, let me introduce rock star pilot and eBay Motors champion, Alec Larson.
Yep.
Quick story about him. I first met him last year at eBay Open. And of course we got to talking shop, and he has a large miscellaneous inventory also. And so he was describing to me a flow chart he made to help his employees make the best decisions about how to ship any given item. And I just thought it was genius. And I'm guessing that he probably hadn't run into too many other people who were that excited about a shipping flow chart. Say it again.
The eBay nerds.
eBay nerds. But that's the kind of thing we're talking about. We can get excited about even this really nerdy stuff together and build each other up and really ultimately make each other more successful. It is the best.
Absolutely. It just never gets old. And sometimes there's those sellers that you meet that go far above and beyond. Yep. And I want to shout out Liz O'Kane, who's always been a cheerleader, both online and in person. And it's not just the fellow sellers that are part of this massive enthusiast community. It's people at eBay too.
Definitely.
We've grown to know and love them, and we understand that they're truly fighting for our success.
Yes, they are.
I think we need to complete the picture. We need a couple more of them represented too.
Yeah.
I want to do a shout out to eBay for Charity, Nicole Inouye, and the wonderful Pat Spena.
Yes, and I think Georgia Mampanis belongs up here too.
Yep.
And we would be remiss to leave out Griff, who's undoubtedly known and loved by all, including us.
For sure, we love Griff. We love Griff.
Griff.
Yep. But guys, I think we need one more. Adam, come up.
Hey, how's it going? Great to see you.
Yep. Hey, nice shoes.
Thank you. Learn from the best. Thank you so much, Ken, Anna, Laurie. This has been amazing. Hearing your journey over the last few days and knowing that some of you have been on the platform for more than 20 years, it's actually me that is so honored to be on the stage with all of you.
Well, guys, so this is it. The largest enthusiast community in the world. This is what it looks like. We're so grateful to be here, to be a part of it. For that, thank you. Adam, we've had a blast taking over, but it's time for us to hand eBay Open back to you.
Thank you so much. And let's move on to the eBay Open finale.
Yes!
Hello, sellers. Wow, I can't believe we're already at the end of another amazing eBay Open. Now, where did those 3 days go? Now, I promised the production team I'd keep this short because there's one more surprise ahead. But before I give up the mic for another year, I've just got a few thank yous to deliver. Thanks to eBay's production team, and I mean everyone, who for months has planned, scripted, fact-checked, built sets, rehearsed, and more to make this event possible. Thanks to all the behind-the-scenes contributors who invest in, build, and test the latest eBay tools, tech, solutions, and resources. You're essential to supporting our sellers' growth and their incredible businesses. And thanks to all the sellers that are here with us today, and all of you out there for your partnership. Open cannot happen without you. I hope you've all had a great time. that you've learned something new, that you've made new connections, and that these 3 days brought home what really makes eBay so incredible. All of you. So in signing off, thanks for tuning in, for your time, and for your incredible partnership. And as always, thank you for selling on eBay. Who's ready, though, for one last surprise? Come with me.
Thank you so much y muchas gracias.
Thank you, eBay sellers.
Thank you very much for making eBay more magical and brighter.
Thank you, eBay sellers.
Thank you for being a part of the eBay community. Whisper is so excited.
Thank you, sellers.
Thank you, eBay seller. 谢谢 eBay 卖家。
Hey eBay sellers, thank you for making eBay a fun and exciting place to shop and to treasure hunt and find that really specific thing I'm looking for.